Hello, welcome back. So, a while ago, I posted a video about how I got into FIT, which I deleted since then because I rewatched it and I hated it, everything about it, so I had to delete it. But I had a couple comments on that video that asked me to kind of explain the process of like how the process was for me on getting into FIT and kind of what I did for my portfolio. It is my second year at FIT, fourth semester, and my last semester here. So it was quite a while ago that I was doing the portfolio to get into FIT. But I do remember that when I was decided that I wanted to go to FIT and I was researching all about the portfolio, I literally had no idea where to start because I went to a very small high school and the art program was not very great. I mean, it was because we had an amazing, kind of crazy, but really super talented art teacher, but there was no kind of fashion design program or anything like that to really prepare me for this at all. So anything that I knew was just sewing that I learned from my grandma and from sewing in musical theater, and then I just drew sketches on my own. I just drew for fun and to sketch out my ideas before I tried to sew them. I wasn't trying to meet any requirements at all with my artwork. So I didn't even know where to start to put together a portfolio because I had no experience with this and I'd never done anything like that before. So I pretty much watched every single YouTube video that there was at the time on people showing their portfolios that they got into FIT with and giving their advice and explaining their process and how they went through it. So that's why I wanted to do this video, because I know that those videos were really helpful for me. And I know that because I had literally zero experience when I put together this portfolio, that hopefully it'll be encouraging and show you that you can get in even with zero experience and literally having no idea what you're doing at all. The first thing with the fashion design portfolio is you have to write an essay, and all the requirements are still the same from when I applied and did my portfolio. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but so I'm not going to go into too much details because it is right on the website, all the requirements, and I'll have it linked down below. And there's a ton more videos that drag on and on about it. I used to watch the videos and skip to the part where they would show their portfolio just so I would have some sort of reference as to how to put together a portfolio. The essay asks you to share a time that your point of view differed, is that a word? I'm so stupid. See, this is why I'm going to art school. So the essay requirements are share about a time that your point of view or opinion was different or clashed with the opinion of your teacher or your employer. So I shared about the time that my opinion was different from my diving coach's opinion and how we ended up agreeing and it all worked out for the best and blah blah blah. It was really motivating or whatever. I feel like it was pretty good, to be honest. Then next part of the portfolio is the design part. So they call it project 1, which is the mix and match design. So for project 1, you had to design a jacket, a top that you used twice on both figures, and then pants and a skirt. Okay. So basically you have 2 figures and you have to create a mix and match mini collection. Okay, and then project 2 is just, it's kind of you create another little mini collection. You can submit, 4 to 8 sketches of just some original fashion design artwork that's on a figure, your own artwork as well. Just a little mini collection. I don't think it even has to be a collection, just 4 to 8 more figures of original artwork that you have. And then the final project is garments that you have sewn. you can submit pictures of 2 to 3 garments that you've sewn. So I came up with the idea to have my collection kind of based off of the 1970s, kind of like the 70s era. And basically I was designing, like my customer who I was designing for was like a girl or a group of friends who were going on like a road trip during the 70s and like going to like different music festivals and just traveling around the United States during the 1970s. So at my collection I wanted to kind of represent that girl for like outfits that she can wear for any occasion. So I made my entire collection cohesive, as in the project 1 and project 2, the 2 artwork designs, like the mix and match, and then just any other original artwork that you have. I made it completely cohesive, like I did completely new artwork and I made it like a cohesive collection, so they both were based off of 70s and they all went together. We also had to include a back view, and I was not about to try and draw a back view figure when I could barely even correctly draw just a front view regular standing figure. So when I watched the videos, I found out what flats were. I literally didn't even know what flat drawings are, so if you don't, then like it's not a big deal. I drew them by hand and they're pretty rough. If you know how to use like Illustrator, then I would recommend going on Illustrator and drawing flats like digitally, just because they look a lot cleaner and nicer. But if not, then like go online and Google like a flats croquis and print it out and use that to draw your flats on so that they're proportioned correctly, because I did not do that. I just freehanded them because I didn't even know what a flats croquis was. Definitely use a flats croquis so that the proportions are correct and they're all the same size, because mine definitely weren't. I mean, they're not terrible, I suppose, for freehanding, but also just like look up reference images. That's what I did. I literally googled like fashion design flats and I used them as reference pictures. So I had them all just on marker paper, and then I just taped it or glued it or marker paper to the foam board, and then I literally just took a picture with my camera. And I also didn't know how to use Photoshop or Illustrator or anything like that, and I didn't have the means to even have that on a computer, so I didn't edit any of these. I also didn't draw faces. I attempted to draw a face on one of the figures and it turned out awful, so I didn't do a face on any of the others. So only one of my figures has a face and the rest just have eyebrows, which actually I feel like doesn't look that bad. But I mean, I probably should have, if I wasn't going to do faces, like pulled the bangs down more to kind of cover it up, but I feel like the eyebrows look fine, like it's whatever. And I also clearly could not really draw hands, so I should have had the hands go like behind the figure and hide the hands behind the figure, but instead I put it like right in front over top of the actual garment, and I should have just hid the hands behind. And then the garments that I chose to do are my prom dress that I designed and made, and then another skirt that I made like a really long time ago, like a top that I actually used like a pattern that my grandma had, and then I borrowed my grandma's dress form to use to put each garment on dress form and take a picture of, which I know that some people did it on like an actual model and like hired a photographer to take like really nice quality pictures, and others just laid them out on the floor or like on like a flat table and took a picture of it. I used a dress form just because like at school we'd never use a model to show our garments that we make at all. We always put them on a dress form, so I don't think that that really matters for FIT like that. But I mean, if you have pictures already of like your garments and a model, like yeah, that looks nice too. So I guess it's just your opinion and what you think looks best. I definitely would recommend at least putting on a dress form, maybe not laying it flat. Well, I went to portfolio review day. I didn't actually have those sketches like the sketches that I turned in with my portfolio weren't the sketches that I took to portfolio review day. They were so much shittier. I brought pictures of the garment. No, I brought the actual skirt garment with me, and then I brought pictures of the other garments that I was doing. And the guy that I met with during portfolio review day told me that my artwork needed to be better, and I needed to render so that it showed what kind of fabric was on the figure. So after portfolio review day, I like went home and I looked up like a bunch of YouTube videos on how to like render fabric. I mainly watched what's her name? Zoe Hong, I think it is. She's like a fashion designer, and she creates so many like different fashion design videos on how to like draw and like work in the fashion industry. But I basically followed all of her tutorials, and that helped me definitely step up my artwork. But the guy at portfolio review day looked at the skirt that I made, and my grandma had a serger, like an overlock machine, so I used that, and he saw that in the skirt, and he told me to, when I was uploading pictures for the garments, to make sure that I include like a close-up picture of the inside of the skirt so that it shows that I'm like advanced in sewing and I know how to use a serger, and I know what a serger is, and that I can use it on my garments, which is something that I would have never thought to do if he wouldn't have told me that. So that's a tip, like if you have any like special details like on your garments like that are advanced, like an invisible zipper or anything like that, to definitely take like a close-up picture of that and include it. If I can find my original sketches that I went to portfolio review day with, then I'll show you, but they are so bad. It's so embarrassing how awful they are. It literally looks like a kindergartner drew them. Thankfully I learned from that, and he told me that like my artwork was not strong enough, so that made me, you know, work harder, and I was able to improve definitely a lot from that. Even the ones I did submit are not that good. They're still like really bad compared to like what I do now. But I mean, obviously I'm going to improve after being here for 2 years, so, and plus I had no experience before, so I feel like what I actually did submit, I mean, compared to the first one, they're not as bad, but they're still like not very good at all. Once I took all those pictures, I think I took like for each garment, I took like 3 pictures, 2 or 3 pictures of each, just like of the front, the back, and then a detail, like a special detail that was on it or whatever. And then I would upload it, and then I upload those pictures, and then when I uploaded the picture of the mood board, I like wrote like a little blurb about it, like who my customer was. And then with each figure that I uploaded, I think I described the outfit a little bit, and then I wrote the fabric content, like what each fabric swatch was. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything, but I would definitely recommend like watching tutorials on YouTube. Like if you don't have like a teacher or like somebody who is actually showing you how, if you don't have the means to like go to a school that shows you how to properly design for what, you know, FIT or like any other fashion school is requiring you to, then I would definitely recommend like looking up tutorials on YouTube to do that, because I definitely improved so much from what I took to portfolio review day to what I actually submitted. So that's pretty much it. That was my portfolio. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. It was enough to get me in. So hopefully I covered everything. If you have any questions, feel free to like just ask me in the comments or whatever. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for watching.